Outside of the Echo Chamber, the official I Dream of Indie Games podcast is brought to you by you, the gamer. If you'd like to join our mission to support indie visibility, head over to patreon.com/I Dream of Indie Games and bring a voice to the voiceless ones in gaming. Hello everyone, welcome to Outside of the Echo Chamber. It is episode 32. I'm Ole Gamer Joe, joined today with Scrambled Ashton and the BarelyMagicMike. We are bringing a voice to the voiceless ones in gaming here at the channel and on our website, idreamofindie.com. Indie, AA, niche games, it's all here. We support the developers and publishers that bring them to us. We offer professional reviews, gameplay impressions, lists, sales breakdowns, deep dives into hidden indie gems, zero reviewed games, one of our newer shows on the channel, retro throwbacks, and plenty of dick and fart and sexual innuendos. How has everybody been out there in the indieverse? Are you all busy? Is life good?
Yeah, all good. Not too busy. Keeping occupied with life. What about you? I know you've been mad busy.
Yes, obviously. I've talked extensively about how I'm moving, but also took my daughter today to get her hair done. So she saw that I did my hair blue recently. I think she was a little bit inspired by her dad to do the same. So she also has blue hair. I think we are becoming the Smurfs over here at the I Dream of Indie Games headquarters, but came out great. She loves it. And then she loves that show. Have you all seen Wednesday, the show that's like the girl from the Addams Family? Tim Burton does it on Netflix. Well, she's obsessed with that show. And so she saw that Wendy's, the restaurant, the fast food chain here, was doing a promotion. And so she naturally wanted to get the tie-in meal that they're doing, which is mystery sauces and a 10-piece spicy nugget. Now, I personally never want to eat anything that says mystery sauce on it myself, but it looked okay as far as fast food goes. I'm not much of a fast food junkie. Michael, I think we've talked before that you don't like fast food much either.
No, not really. Not unless fast food we're talking about is like Chipotle or Cava or Moe's or something that's like fast but still fresh. When it's just kind of fakey and greasy tasting, I feel it in my blood after, you know?
I'm never going to say no to like a KFC, but I think our fast food, we haven't got as many fast food chains over here as you guys do. I think the most popular one in the UK is Greg's, which you guys definitely don't have, and that's like pasties and sausage rolls. So that is always a fan. And where I live, we have like, you can see the next Greg's from the Greg's you're currently in. That's how many Greg's there are.
I never even heard of that before.
That's how I've never heard of that either, but that's definitely how Dunkin' Donuts is here. Like almost every 2 to 3 miles there is another Dunkin' Donuts, but really anywhere in North America you don't have to go far to find a fast food chain. But I just ate so much of it as a kid. So my mother actually worked for McDonald's, and she would constantly bring home the food from there. And, you know, having that so often as a child, I just got sick of it. And I didn't even want to look at it anymore as an adult. You know how sometimes you have so much of something and then you just want nothing to do with it later in life? That's kind of how I am with McDonald's specifically, but fast foods in general. There's something about the smell. I can't even get Silent Signs to eat most fast foods because she literally is disgusted by the smell of it, particularly Taco Bell. She just cannot stand the odor of it. Lots of fast foods here in North America for sure. I'm glad to hear, Ashton, that it's a little less prevalent in the UK because let's be honest, that food is not great for you. Not that I'm to tell people what they should eat or not, but
Well, American food chains are appearing more often here now. We have we have a Hooters in Newcastle now. That's just popped up, and it stands out like a sore thumb amongst everything else.
Did you almost say a
there's
sore
also-
thong? Because it sounded like you almost said a sore thong.
It would have been fitting for Hooters, right?
Completely misspoke, but yeah, I basically almost did say sore thong, which is a horrible image, by the way. And then I think there's a Wingstop now here as well, and like Taco Bell appeared a few years ago, and there's one of those in every city. There's another place that's just popped up in Newcastle, and I haven't been, but I can't remember if it's a Wendy's or a different burger place, but I can't remember which one.
Does the logo have a girl with like pigtails and red hair? 'Cause
I don't know. I can know all of the chains in America because I watch a lot of American content on YouTube, but I can't remember which one it is. Like, I'm having a blank on even what it looks like. I've never been in. Apparently it's like rubbish, so I've not been in. But yeah, they are becoming more often now that you see an American fast food chain in the UK. But I would never choose to go to a fast food chain. I'd much rather go to just a nice meal at a different restaurant / an independent business.
Yeah. They're not even cheap
you know?
anymore. Like, fast food isn't even
really not,
inexpensive anymore. Like, what's the point?
I got her that meal just now, and that was $11. Now, I know it was a special promotion, but still, $11 for pretty bad fast food is not great. You can stay home and cook a burger for much cheaper than that. That will taste like 50 times better.
It is a Wendy's. They have opened a Wendy's here now. I've never been to a Wendy's. Maybe
It's
I'll have to
interesting,
give it a
though,
go.
that you all are opening Hooters, because here in the United States, Hooters has been shutting down. In fact, am I correct, Mike? I don't know if you heard this, but they filed bankruptcy recently, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, yeah, I think I
they
did hear
filed
that.
bankruptcy it was about 2 days after the one in Newcastle opened.
I think it's a pretty
They
dated
filed
concept when you think about it, right? It's a stupid chain to start with. My brother's obsessed with Hooters. I think it's just the dumbest thing. I went to one once with him just because he was like, "Hey, we're all going out for Christmas or something," and I'm so awkward in situations like that I just sat there like a little child curled up with a ball in the corner. I'm like, I don't want to be here anymore. Ugh. But he absolutely loves that stuff. It's just not my scene. I'm not big into like sports bars in general or any of that kind of stuff. But I do love me a good sports competition. But I've never been much of a go out in public kind of person to begin with. I don't know if you both know this, but I'm diagnosed with anxiety disorder, which is weird for me to be a YouTuber. So it's really...
I don't know. I don't think it's that weird because when it's like, if you're just talking to camera, you can pretend no one's going to see it.
Yeah,
but you have to actually go outside.
You're right. That's exactly what it is. It's strange. I feel comfortable doing YouTube content because really it often feels like I'm talking to myself, even though I am, in fact, broadcasting to a ton of different people out there. But no, I'm the most awkward, anxious person in the world. Most people that have met me will tell you that same thing. So it is interesting how I've landed in that field. But thank you for that, Ashton. I appreciate that. It makes me feel a little better about it. All right. On to today's topics. We're changing things up a bit. So, Mike, tell me a little bit about this new concept. I reached out to the community at your request. We are essentially giving recommendations for games that people might games that they've played, but they might be interested in more games like that. Is that the main idea here?
Yeah. The idea is that we want to reach out to the community and see, what have you played recently that you really like and you want something like it, and see if we can help you out, pair you up with something you might love that you may have either not thought to try or not heard of.
Nintendo also had a new indie direct today. We're going to talk just a little bit about that. I think they announced somewhere like 10 to 15 indie games, though. Many of these games we already knew about, but we'll discuss that too. We're also going to talk about the games that we've been playing recently. And our topic of the day, why do we think franchises that are subject to a great deal of hate online are still ultimately able to sell millions and millions of copies? We're, of course, talking about the CODs, the Maddens, the GTAs of the world. But first, it's Icebreaker time. I've brought a fun one. I may have asked you this. I ask most people that I meet for the first time this question for some reason, Mike, but I'll start with you anyways. When was the last time you threw up off of drinking alcohol?
Oh, God, years, definitely. Probably a birthday. The most recent that I could even remember is that back when I don't know, I was turning 25 or something, I think. This was a while ago. My friends and I were taking shots, like pre-gaming before going out, and all I had to take shots of was mezcal, which I don't know if you've
What
had
is mezcal exactly?
It's
I don't even know what that is.
It's like the scotch of tequila. Like it's a smoky tequila. It is revolting. I mean, you know, maybe it has its place in some circles, but after that, I can't drink anything smoky.
It's definitely not a shotting drink.
No, it is not.
That's so funny because my story also involves tequila, but go ahead.
Yeah, my vomit smelled like a campfire. Gross.
Oh my God. That's pretty heinous. Ashton, how about you?
Oh God, mine wasn't that long ago, I don't think. I mean, it hasn't happened. It only happens when I'm at my parents' house because they have more alcohol than I have, and it's free for me. So it always happens around like Christmas. I don't think it happened this Christmas, but last Christmas, I got really drunk on Christmas Day with my sister. We were pouring like triple measures of gin late into the evening. And then
pine needles.
The next morning, my grandparents coming around for breakfast on Boxing Day, and I could not eat my food. Couldn't sit at the table because the food was making me feel sick. I had to sit on the sofa, and then at one point in the breakfast, I went, "Can you just pass me a hash brown?" Just sat there, really sadly eating a hash brown. So I haven't been that drunk since then. But yeah, Christmas or Eurovision is always a bad night for me. Well, I haven't done Eurovision for a few years now, but it used to be a pretty brutal night because we played a drinking game whilst watching Eurovision, which is something that I feel America is really missing out on. The hype and joy that is Eurovision is unparalleled.
So I take it then you have parents that, you know, enjoy drinking alongside you?
Yeah. Yeah, we're a party household. I'm literally tomorrow afternoon travelling the 3 hours down to Cambridgeshire to go see my parents just for a barbecue and to see my grandparents, but mainly the barbecue because they will have lots of rosé for me to drink. So it'll be nice.
Love that for you.
That sounds fantastic. Yeah, no, that sounds great. So I never really got to have a drink with my dad because he was an alcoholic, and so that kind of made me want nothing to do with drinking up to a certain age.
Harshes the vibe a bit.
But then I got into drinking, you know, a little bit, probably more in my teen rebellious years, and then I really, really got into drinking and was kind of a mess like he was, and I kind of realized, well, I'm going down that same path. I should probably stop this, but I think at some point I just got sick of being hungover. I feel like hangovers are just so dreadful that it almost makes drinking not worth it for me anymore. They get worse. I don't know if you agree, Mike, but they seem to get worse as you get older.
Oh, they totally do. And by the way, I was going to mention, if you want me to tell this, I have a really awful story about getting sick from drinking. It's hilarious, but it's so gross, and you could totally delete
Absolutely,
it. Absolutely,
no. We love gross here. No.
Oh, so, okay. In college, I was at my former roommate's Halloween party, and my friend Brandon, who sometimes listens to this podcast, fuck you, Brandon, for this story, he gave me a double shot of vodka when I was already really, 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 really drunk. And he was a year behind me in college, so he was like, "Oh, you're leaving me next year. You have to at least take the shot with me." And I was like, "Fine, whatever, I'll take the shot." So I leave after that, and my walk home, it's like I've never actually blacked out from drinking, but I would say that my life went from like, you know, 4K video to like a relatively well-prepared PowerPoint. Like just everything
720p at least.
Yeah. Like everything. I got frames of what happened on my way back, but I didn't totally get it. But I certainly remember what happened when I got to my bedroom because I was like, oh shit, I am going to be really sick. And my bedroom was right next to the bathroom, so you could think I could just walk 10 feet over to the bathroom and throw up there. I didn't do that. I had a trash can like 5 feet away. You would think maybe I could go there and throw up in the trash can. I didn't do that either. Instead, I found a tissue box a couple feet away from me. And even then, you would think, "Oh, wow, Mike, did you throw up in the tissue box?" No, I did not throw up in the tissue box. Instead, I took the tissues one by one and started vomiting into them.
No.
And I woke up. I woke up to vomit stains all over my room, and I couldn't hold down water till 3 p.m. the next day. It was terrible. And it was Brandon's fault.
Oh
So
my
again,
God.
Brandon, if you're listening, fuck you.
Hey, fuck you, Brandon.
I love you, Brandon,
I will
but also
say,
fuck you.
Fuck you, Brandon. I don't know you, Brandon, but fuck you as well.
Yeah, me neither, but, solidarity with my friend here.
I love Brandon, but yeah, fuck you, Brandon.
Isn't that the absolute worst about drinking, though, is when you do a blackout and you have no idea, no earthly clue what you did the night before?
You get anxiety.
Yes, I hate that feeling. Gosh,
I love
that's
that.
another
I've
reason
never heard
kinda-
that.
I know I haven't either, but that's a really clever one. I like that. I might steal that from you, unless it's trademarked already.
Hey,
but-
I didn't invent it. It might just be a Britishism, but yeah, if you get anxiety, if you can't remember what you did the night before because you were drinking, it's called anxiety.
I'm going to remember that. But no, the last time I actually threw up off of drinking, I was probably also in my 20s at that point, and it was actually really sad. It was me and one other dude hanging out, so it wasn't even like we were at a cool party or anything. We were just bored and decided to get stupidly drunk for whatever reason and listen to bad Meatloaf songs all night. And one shot after another, next thing I knew, it was tequila, and tequila hits you very quickly. I don't know, Ashton, do you drink a lot of tequila?
I love tequila shots.
Same.
I love the pageantry of a tequila shot.
Right, but it creeps up on you, doesn't it? It can really come out of nowhere. One moment you're having just a shot, you're feeling good, and then one shot turns into 4 shots, and then you are completely out of it. And so I remember hugging the porcelain god and kind of looking down and just being covered in puke, but I don't remember the actual act of puking or throwing up. And there's nothing worse than waking up the next day either and smelling like puke and not even remembering that you had puked the previous night.
I think that the most treacherous nights of drinking though are when it's you and someone else and you're yapping and drinking because you don't quite realize how much you've drunk. Whereas if you're out and about, you're like, oh well, I've spent loads of money, and you've sort of almost, the time is longer between drinks. Whereas if it's just you and someone else, you're just drinking and drinking and drinking, and suddenly you're on the floor. And you don't know how it's happened because you were like, it's just going to be us. And then suddenly it's not. You're just on the ground, a mess.
Oh my gosh, you've just reminded me of another fear involving drinking. It's when you go out and you're using your charge card and you don't realize you've started buying people all these drinks, and then you look at the charge the next day and you're like, oh no, how much did I spend?
Oh, nightmare.
Yeah.
That has happened.
Nightmare. I've probably at my worst done 160 to 200 in a night of drinking. Can anyone top that?
I don't know. When I was at uni, I did, I think, buy quite a lot of shots at a social. But I don't remember how much I spent. I think I just decided that the overdraft isn't real money and therefore it's fine.
It isn't. It isn't.
It's not real till
It
the next day
isn't.
and then it hits you like a cold slap in the face. But
Yeah.
are you two generally fun to be around when you drink, or are you ever been angry drunk?
Oh, I'm a silly drunk.
I'm not. I'm a silly
Pure
drunk
silly.
too. I can't stop talking when I'm drunk. That's my problem, is that I just talk and I won't. And my fiance's like, let's go home. It's 4:00 in the morning. And I'm like, but I've not finished my conversation. I have to keep, we're still talking, and he's desperately trying to get me to leave. But I never want to leave a party when I've had a drink. And then we're always the last ones there. And he's like, please, I'm tired.
You're making me feel so old because my bedtime now is probably, I'm in bed by 8:30 p.m. Eastern.
Oh my God.
I haven't seen 4 a.m. probably in well over a decade or two, unless I'm having insomnia or something like that. But you kind of got me missing those old party days where I could do that stuff. I used to really be a night owl. I would stay up all night playing video games and drinking and that whole thing, but Ashton, enjoy it while you can. Enjoy being young, because getting old, not quite as fun. Though it has its things that I enjoy about it. It is kind of nice to lay in bed from 9 p.m. and just watch stupid stuff. I'm watching all these, what I would consider old man shows, at least from where I'm sitting. Lately, I've been into Naked and Afraid, and I will watch that show constantly. It's are you both familiar with the show?
I think so.
I've heard of it.
So it's a survival
I'm not
show
familiar,
where
though.
basically random people go out to try to survive for 30 days in the wilderness, and they're completely naked. They have a few items, and I'm just absolutely hooked on this show for whatever reason. So the other night, I rather than drinking alcohol, here where I live, we have legal CBD and we have legal THC as well. I found this drink that they make. at my local package store. It's a mix of THC and CBD, so it kind of balances the high and the calmness. And it's really perfect for someone like me that has an anxiety disorder. I'm like nice and chill, and I'm just zoning out watching these naked people. I'm like, whoa, this is so cool. And I'm like just laughing along, and Silent Signs is like, what is wrong with you?
That sounds great.
It does sound good. It sounds like a great night.
Yeah, so being old's not as bad as it might sound. Don't be scared of getting old too much, but do enjoy that youth. Just not too much. Do so, carefully there, Ashton. 4 a.m. that is quite the binge. I don't want to sound like your dad, though. Do as you will.
Not often. The last time I was up till 4 a.m. and it's the last few years, has been the Game Awards. That always has me up till 4 a.m. because it doesn't start here until 1 a.m. So staying up late for Jeff Keighley's The Game Awards is what's keeping me young, I think.
Well, I can understand having to drink to get through that show. That makes sense.
Oh, yeah. You can't do that sober. It's a fucking nightmare.
All right, let's get into what we've been playing this week. BarelyMagicMike, I know you picked up a ton of indie releases, whether they were on sale or just new releases. Go ahead and tell us about what you've grabbed and some of the games you might have played.
Oh, so what I've grabbed and what I've actually played are always very different stories. What I've grabbed are games that I hope to play in the very, very near future, including Tall Trails, I think it's called. Actually, I have my Steam Deck right here. I can see. I picked up Is This Seat Taken? I picked up Tall Trails, Static Dread, Cook Serve Forever. Can't wait to try those and hope I can actually find time to. In terms of what I have actually been playing, I found some really cool chill roguelikes. One is called Rollscape, which is all about kind of dice rolls, which sounds very simple, but it has some pretty complex strategy behind it, and a ton of content. So definitely worth checking out for anybody into sort of minimalist roguelikes. And there is another one that came out last week called Birdigo, which is for my Wordle fans out there. It is a bird-themed Wordle Balatro-like. You have words that you need to spell, and you get feathers that are sort of like the jokers in Balatro, and you have to upgrade, all the words that you play, and you get a certain number of discards and all that. It is literally Wordle meets Balatro. It's great. Had a really good time with that so far. And then at your recommendation, Joe, I've been playing Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, and I'm agreeing with your rating on it, the silver. Yeah, it is very good. I'm not usually that into retro stuff, but the level design is great. Platforming is fun. Combat is fun. So far, really enjoying it. And the last thing I will mention is I have been playing one AAA game, which is Donkey Kong Bonanza. And so far, I feel like it's a little overrated. Kind of surprising myself even to say that. It's fun, but for a 3D platformer, there isn't a lot of 3D platforming. Like it's, you
just beat the shit out of the environment.
Yeah, different kind of game, right? It's not like a traditional Donkey Kong Country game either, is it?
No, it's really not at all. You'll jump and you'll run and you'll do stuff like that, but I think my biggest issue is it is one of the easiest games I have ever played. I haven't died once in 6 hours. It is so honestly painfully easy. I need some sort of challenge in a platformer.
Yeah, I've been playing it. So I've been playing it on stream. I like it from the sense of it's scratching that itch of like finding all of the bananas. And I really like it that whenever you find a banana, it goes, oh, banana. That makes me laugh every time.
Banana.
Yeah. And so there's lots of things I like about it, but I do agree that it is unbelievably easy. The last two, I've done the first 2 boss fights, and I mean, I don't know if you can even call it that, because you just throw something at it and it dies.
Yep.
And then it's done. So yeah, it really is very easy. But it's like an easy Mario Odyssey. Mario Odyssey is a lot harder, I think, than Donkey Kong Bonanza. I think that it has a lot of charm, but I do agree that it isn't. I wouldn't even call it a platformer. I don't think that's what it is. I couldn't. If someone was to hand it to me and be like, categorize this, I don't think I would even call it a platformer, even a little bit.
I would agree.
So could I?
It's not very platformy.
Actually, Like, what is the actual goal of this game? Is it really just like a destruction simulator? Are there actual objectives to complete?
So essentially, you have been pushed down into the sublayer of the world by this big ship that's pushed Donkey Kong's Banana City down into the ground. And then in order to fix this, you have to get to the core of the planet and make a wish that everything will return back to normal. So you start off in the monkey planet, a monkey like area of the world, then you go down to like sub-layer 100 and it's a different biome and a different world, and then you go down again and it's again slightly different. So it's basically just a set of levels of varying different sort of biomes and characters, that kind of thing. A bit similar to Mario Odyssey in that he was traveling from different worlds where they had different species of people. But the thing about it is that you're going below the world, but there's still like the sun under the ground, and then you have basically just keep going lower until you get to the planet core.
See, my hope with the game was kind of like it was like an aggression simulator. If you were feeling like you had something pent up inside you could just play that game for a while and smash some stuff and feel a little better.
You can definitely do that as well. Like you can basically destroy everything, take it back down to like the bare bones, because everywhere has like a foundation of metal that you can't destroy, but you can just destroy everything else.
Now, I know this is an indie podcast, but I have to ask you both. You both have Switch 2s. What do you think of Nintendo's approach trying different things with these flagship franchises? Obviously, the new Mario Kart is pretty drastically different from previous entries we've seen, and now they're doing something totally different with Donkey Kong. Do you applaud this, even if they're not all super successful in what they're trying to do, just trying different things?
I don't know if they are doing things that much different than what they've previously done. I don't think that Mario Kart World is that dissimilar to the last Mario Kart, in the sense that the sort of open world element of it is almost sort of feels like an afterthought.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But I think that I'm interested to see what else they do. I think that if I didn't have a Switch 2, I don't know if I would buy one for the current selection of games that is on it. But we pre-ordered it and now we're stuck with it. So I'm going to play them, but I don't know if I would. If someone said, is it worth getting a Switch 2 at this point? I don't know if I'd say yes.
Yeah, I think I would agree. There's nothing out there right now that's like amazing. And I think Nintendo has been definitely trending toward a certain gameplay style with like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Donkey Kong, Mario Kart World, where it's more everything's open, play your way. Maybe kind of looking for more of that Minecraft and Roblox kind of audience, but
like more of a sandbox approach to it.
Yeah, I think they've been releasing a lot of sandboxy stuff, and I think what we see in Donkey Kong is that it's still a good game. Like I still enjoy it, but it's not hooking me because that sort of tight design that Nintendo has been known for a long time really isn't there. Like it's not as cleverly designed, and it doesn't really provide as much challenge as some of their games used to.
Ashton, how about you? Have you been playing anything outside of Donkey Kong? Anything in the indie scene in particular? You did do a written review for us.
I did, yeah. I played Make Room, which is a game I think that some people will be really good at. I am not.
Really? I thought this would be right up your alley.
Well, I enjoyed myself. Like I built a few things, but I am not the kind of person that like works well with no prompt or sort of no aim, really. And I wrote as much in the review in the sense of I think it could benefit from having, like Tiny Glade does, a daily or weekly challenge of like build a shop front, and then everyone can share that kind of thing. But it has I think it's 11 guided requests, which are basically we're going to build a cat cafe, put these 3 items in it, cool, you did you builded it, congrats. And then we move on to the next thing. But yeah, I sort of wish it had a bit more of a story / a direction. And I also think that when the community gets their hands on it and they build new pieces of furniture with the create tool, that'll be great too, because right now I sort of didn't feel like there was as much like there wasn't as many options as I wanted there to be. There was still quite a lot, but there wasn't as much as I think it would need to keep me enticed for a really long time. So maybe when people start building things and putting them on the Steam Workshop, then maybe I will dive back in. But I haven't gone back to it. It didn't grab me as much as I wanted it to, unfortunately. I've also played some Crime Scene Cleaner. I finished that game. I'm in my Criminal Minds and chill era, in that I'm watching Criminal Minds again and playing games where I haven't got to think. And Crime Scene Cleaner, you don't have to think, you just clean up the blood and it's fine and nice, if that's one way of saying it. But yesterday on stream for my Indie Wednesday, I played Dead Take, which you got me for my birthday, which I was very appreciative for. I don't know how I feel about that game.
Right, so how much of it is FMV versus walking around like the 3D environments and whatnot? It looks like it's more like actual hands-on gameplay than I was expecting from what I've seen. Yeah,
so I finished it in about 3.5 hours yesterday. And of that, I would say maybe about half an hour of FMV stuff. But so it's not like constantly throughout. It's basically you find USBs and you have to go put them in the cinema room and then watch the movies on the cinema and then sit there and watch them and then go and like find the next one, basically. But that was fine. I didn't mind so much that that's how they did it. It just sort of wrapped itself up a bit strangely and felt a bit sort of not like it just some things I was a bit like, why is that there? Like Laura Bailey's headshot is all over it. Obviously they got permission to use her headshot as like part of the sort of, this is one of the actresses we were going to hire and then didn't. And then Matt Mercer is sort of briefly in it as well, and so is Laura Bailey's husband, whose name I have forgotten. I think his name is Travis. But they're all sort of like shoehorned in a little bit, and it felt a bit like they're here for the sake of things, which was kind of strange. The story of it is interesting, but like unbelievably cliche. It's like this big time movie developer is a terrible man, bad to wife and bad to people and just not nice, which, yes, I mean, is a good story to tell, but wasn't anything particularly groundbreaking. And the horror was very much like cheap jump scares and not actually super scary. Plus, I couldn't play it with the music on because I was streaming it. So there was a few points where like I was walking around in dead silence and I thought, I'm going to assume that there's music playing now. I just can't hear it because they turn it off in streamer mode, which is always a shame when you just have to basically have no music rather than just all the music apart from the copyrighted issue. I wouldn't play it again, I don't think, but I had a nice-ish, I'm going to say nice, it was a horror game, so it wasn't that nice, but I had a good time playing it. I just don't know if I've come away from it being like, what a good game, you know?
Yeah, that's kind of a shame.
I think if I was to...
Yeah,
if I was to review it, I'd maybe give it like just a table lamp. I don't think it's anything super special.
I know, like, honest. Personally, the reason I play FMV games is I like to kind of just sit back and watch the story, but make choices from time to time and kind of just be like a viewer that participates here or there. So the idea of like being more involved with the gameplay doesn't really appeal to me for that genre. And I like the cheesy aspect of it and like the silly different outcomes and things like that. They're supposed to be kind of stupid and over the top, right? That makes sense, but this sounds like it kind of misses the mark.
No, I don't think this has any other endings. You basically play it exactly as it plays. It doesn't have other options, I don't think. You literally just play it as is. It's FMV in the sense that it has full motion video in it, but it's not an FMV game. I would say it's a thriller that also has actual videos in it. And the acting's fantastic, but the writing is not incredible.
You wonder how much of the budget must have went to the actors instead of actually, going into the game design itself.
You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of 12 Minutes. Did you play that? That one?
I fucking hate that game.
I hate it so much. I hate it so much.
I was fuming. I got stuck. I had to Google it. I felt like I was playing it for hours. And then the way it ended, I was like, is that a fucking prank? Am I actually being... Is this a joke? I hate that game.
I couldn't even make it that far.
I wish.
It is supposed to take 12 minutes over and over and over and over and over. It is a terrible game.
What was that game exactly?
Just bad. It was a bad game, and people like rated it, and it was just awful. You're just a top-down perspective. You're a man who... This guy breaks into your house. He either shoots you or he shoots your wife, and you get reversed back to the beginning of those 12 minutes, and you have to essentially set a bunch of stuff up so that this guy doesn't kill you and your wife. And then there's this silly story, and it's just awful. I won't spoil it, because if you're going to play it, you need to experience the trauma for yourself. But...
Is it as traumatic as, did y'all ever play The Quiet Man, that bad Square FMV game?
No, I wouldn't dare.
It was like a 2018 release. It was a huge flop. It was a live action full motion video game, but it was absolutely terrible. Sounds on par with what you experienced there. 12 minutes. That's one of those games that definitely came and went. It was kind of hyped for a brief moment in time, and then I heard nothing about it again, like maybe a month later.
It's because of its voice cast. It just had like an unbelievably great voice cast. Who is it? Daisy Ridley. I can't remember who played the guy. And then
Willem Dafoe, right? Or
Willem Dafoe, yeah, but
and James McAvoy.
James McAvoy, yeah. What the fuck? I can't believe they were in that game.
I mean, when you have a narrative-driven game and the narrative is not great, you're kind of screwed, right? You're in for a bad time.
Yeah, I thought it looked really interesting. I was hyped for it, and then I played it on Game Pass, and I was like, oh man, I am so glad I played this on Game Pass. I really thought it was garbage.
Dude, you and me both. I'm so glad that you also hate that game. That game sucked.
Well, I played a video game that didn't suck quite so hard. It's called Artist Impact.
Good.
It's a turn-based RPG of sorts, though I would say it's actually more narrative-focused than it actually is on being a solid, like, RPG. It's a game that definitely intentionally has, like, easy mechanics to it as far as the RPG elements go. You can mow through the battles. There's not that many intricate systems to upgrading or anything like that. It's really more about the story. This lead character, Akane, she's best friends with this AI cube robot, which is quite literally named Bot. And you're in this world that has been destroyed in the past by AI. And now AI is kind of coming back. What's left of the world is fighting back against the AI. It's all a little bit... Have either of you played Nier Automata before?
It did. I was going to say it sounds a lot like Nier.
It kind of is in that vein story-wise, but it also has like this offbeat sense of humor to it. I really, really like this game. A lot of metaphorical thought went into it too. There's some heavier themes. It's really all over the place, but in the best possible way. Very scatterbrained. You have some pretty serious themes at time. Very interesting lead character, but I would say if you're turned off by it being an RPG, you might be surprised because it really does a good job of just pushing its narrative forward and kind of just making those mechanics there for people that like RPGs enough, but it's not really the focus of the game. Mike, I know you mentioned you were maybe a little bit interested in this title.
Yeah. I think it looks really cool. Even as somebody who's not really into pixel art, I think it's beautiful, like very, very pretty. And the fact that you liked it so much means I feel like I should at least give it a try, even if I don't always click with RPGs, but it seems more story focused, so I might really like that.
Do either of you get uncomfortable with certain themes? Because this game does have a lot going on with it. Like, it gets into sexism pretty heavily, mental health issues, that kind of thing. Do both of you handle that kind of subject matter pretty well?
Yeah, as long as it's tasteful.
Yeah, I was going to say if it's tasteful, then absolutely.
It definitely is in this case, yeah. I think they do a great job touching on those things and, showing audiences how harmful they can be. So, very powerful game. It's made by a solo developer, I believe. It was 4 years to create it. I was really, really impressed with it. Unfortunately, Steam Deck performance has a bit of a ways to go still, but playable on there, but I did hit some like frame rate snags and whatnot. I think people are sometimes surprised when games aren't running good that are pixel art, but I've come to learn in the past few months, I kind of been researching this more, and a lot of pixel art games are still using more modern engines today, which means that they still rely on certain things like hardware and CPU and that kind of thing to run properly. All right, let's talk real quick about today's Nintendo Indie Direct, at least at the time of this recording. It was today. They showed somewhere around probably 10 to 15 games maybe. kicked off this direct with Mina the Hallower. This is a game that has been in development for quite a long time, of course, from the publishers Yacht Club Games, who are known for Shovel Knight. It's coming out on Halloween, top-down Zelda style game with an adorable mouse.
Yeah, it looks really good, especially after playing Pipistrello, which seems like sort of its closest analog in terms of this year's releases, and loving Pipistrello a lot. Mina the Howler will definitely be on my wish list. Very curious.
They also showed Well Dweller, which is kind of this cute Metroidvania title that's coming out. Neverway, this is the one that I'm really excited about, and I feel like you might be into this too, Ashton. It's a scary, cozy game. Have you gotten to see any of the trailers for this one?
Yeah, I saw the trailer during the showcase. I don't know if it's for me. I think that it looks great and I can respect from a distance, but I don't think I would have as like a longevity with it that I think it would need from me.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, I thought you might be into it for the cozy aspect, at least.
Oh yeah, like it looks really nice and cozy, but I just think that I just don't like a boss battle. So I just feel like I'm like, ugh. If I've got to fight bugs and that, I'm just not really interested.
Interesting. You were on our podcast when we talked about boss battles, were you?
Yeah, I think I was. And I think I was very much like, I don't want them to go on too long and I don't want them to be too hard. So as long as they're not going to be too hard, I don't mind a boss battle. But I'm not drawn to an RPG of this style as much as I think I wish I was.
Well, here's one I know that you were both interested in for reasons. Herdling. It's coming from the creators of the Far series, which I'm not super familiar with myself, but the game looks to be all about herding animals. That doesn't seem super exciting to me, but Mike, why are you all about herdling?
It's honestly, herdling itself looks pretty good, but it's all about locomotive. Ashton, I don't know if you've played Far Lone Sails and Far Changing Tides. I think they are really fantastic indies that have never quite gotten their spot in the limelight, and they should have. They're so atmospheric and they're so unique. Mm-hmm. I feel like if the act of sort of transporting this ship across a desolate apocalyptic landscape like in the Far series can be translated to some interesting mechanics around herding animals, I think herdling could be really great. I think it could be a lot more than it looks like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so. It sort of reminds me in a few of the shots of the trailer of Journey, just like ever so slightly in the landscapes that you're sort of exploring. I think it just looks like it will be a nice, relaxing time where you take your little herd of sort of cows to wherever they need to go. And I haven't played the Far games, but I have watched some gameplay of them, and they do just seem so nice. So I think, yeah, it does look great, and I hope that it's good, and I'm excited for its release so I can find out.
They also showed Is This Seat Taken? I believe I had seen this game, at least in a trailer in the past, something that I've been kicking around for a bit. Mm-hmm. It's all about apparently picking the right seats next to people, kind of like a puzzle game, but sitting next to the appropriate person that you're going to get along with, or something along those lines. Either of you into Is This Seat Taken?
Purchased it immediately.
I loved the demo. I loved it.
It is out now, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's out today. Yeah, I had a lot of fun playing the demo for this game. It's more than it sounds, in the sense of the puzzles are more complex as it goes on. Obviously, it gets a bit more difficult. The first one's like, I want to sit by the window in this car, and I want to sit in the middle. And then eventually it gets a bit harder, and there's sort of like side levels where it's like, put everyone in their seat at the wedding kind of thing.
Oh, that sounds so fun.
It's a really fun little game.
Yeah.
I've played it on Steam. And I think it is it available on PlayStation and Xbox as well, or is it just Switch? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure
yeah, it's
either.
I'm leaning towards just PC and Switch, but correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's just PC and Switch.
It may very well just be PC and Switch. I think that it would probably work best with the mouse anyway. But yeah, the demo was a lot of fun. It's a really fun little puzzler, and I'm excited to play more of it.
Looks pretty lighthearted too, from what I could tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, very chill, very sort of cozy, very charming. The demo worked great with the Steam Deck's touchscreen, so I'm hoping the full game will too. So yeah, I bought it immediately. I was also really enamored with the demo.
Little Kitty Big City is getting a free update. They also announced that at the Direct. I didn't care for this game myself. I don't know if either of you played it, but I didn't think it was really that great.
Yeah.
I didn't care for it that much either. It was cute, but...
It was cute, but it wasn't anything super special, no.
Kind of my same thoughts. Kind of just came and went for me anyways. But on Switch 2, nothing too big to get excited about for you new Switch 2 owners out there. They did show content warning. Looks like kind of like a co-op game where you're kind of filming underground and bringing things back to the surface or something along those lines. This is definitely not my genre.
That's been out on PC for a while. It's very like Lethal Company. It's a stream game, a content game for sure. I think it'll be fun to play with other people, but that's a game that I think is more fun to watch people play than it necessarily is to play yourself, but maybe that's just my opinion.
Ball Pit was also shown. I think this one's coming from Devolver Digital, October 15th. Going to be on Switch 1, an action roguelike. Do you know much about this one, Mike?
I keep meaning to play the demo for this one. I think it looks really, really good. Looks sort of Breakout-ish.
I was going to say, yeah, does it have like a Breakout thing going on with it from what I could tell, or like pinball almost?
Yeah, I don't know, but it looks really cool. It looks very fun. It looks satisfying to play, so it's going to catch my attention. I'll get to that demo eventually.
They also showed what I thought looked rather adorable was Ultimate Sheep Raccoon, coming this winter. It's an animal racing game. It looked like you were kind of on these crazy obstacle courses trying to race to the end. Cute little party game, I thought. And then the last game they showed was Glaciered, which I know, Mike, you played at PAX this year, rather.
Yeah, I did. I can't say I was super impressed with it. It was okay. I think it could have been, the concept seemed like you were playing like prehistoric creatures, and then it ended up being sort of that, but in this sort of fantasy. I think it takes place in the far future or something, and I don't know. The whole setup was not really what I had expected from it. So some people might find more interest in that. It didn't latch on to me.
Then Nintendo closed the show with Winter Burrow, Undusted Letters from the Past. These were all featured in like a sizzle reel type deal. They didn't get their own segments.
The sizzle reel was all the games I liked were in the sizzle reel.
That happens all the time, unfortunately. It's like, oh, that looks so cool. You're not going to tell me about it.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, hey, what's that? Hey, these look great. Why am I only getting 15 seconds of them? There was so many of those games where I was like, that is either currently on my wish list or will be on my wish list by the end of the day.
Well, I know one of these I definitely went hands-on with, Undusted Letters from the Past. We played this at PAX.
Yeah, I played the demo for that.
Really cute. You're kind of just undusting these different, as the title implies, like kind of relaxing, uncovering these items and making sure they shine. I like that game quite a bit from what I've played. They showed Tiny Bookshop, Caves of Kud, Strange Antiquities, Opus Prism Peak, Go-Go Town, and then UFO 50, which has been kicking around forever. That's coming to the Switch. I still need to get along with that one at some point because I do love the idea of 50 games in one. I've heard it's really good.
I'm just going to say I'm so sad all the games I was excited for in the sizzle reel. I feel like every time Nintendo do a showcase, all the ones I like are in the sizzle reel because they just... The other ones are interesting. At least this time I think there's a diverse group of games. But I don't understand why, for a show that was only 15 minutes long, why we couldn't have also made those games have their own trailers as well. I don't know why they had to be demoted to a sizzle reel in a show that was only 15 minutes.
That's kind of what I was thinking too. Like, what was the rush for Nintendo to get out of there? The show is pre-recorded anyways, right? It wasn't like they were doing a live broadcast. And, we had plans to maybe even do a broadcast of this, but for 15 minutes, setting up a stream and all that, the show was over in the blink of an eye. Kind of a pain in the neck. And not really that many games featured as it was. So, yeah, to go with a sizzle reel there, kind of lame, Nintendo, but whatever. We'll let it go.
Yeah.
On to our new section, which I guess for now I've named the Indie Crystal Ball because we're going to give you a look into the future or the past. I don't know. It's a stupid name I just came up with. This is really Mike's idea.
I like it.
Mike, your concept brought to life here on the podcast. I reached out to the community via our community tab. Be sure to keep it locked over there. We post every single day, whether it's a poll or asking you fun questions. You can get involved with the I Dream of Indie Games community. So this was all about trying to pair you with a new game to play. And we had a lot of people write in. In fact, I'm going to extend this past one episode of the podcast because there was like 45 comments. I tried to pair each of you up with something that you might be somewhat familiar with. So, Mike, I know you like the stealth genre. Aaron Shepard wrote in and said he's been playing Mark of the Ninja, and has been very much looking to play another indie stealth game. Do you have any recommendations for that genre?
You know what, Aaron Shepard 6246, I feel you, because there is nothing out there quite like Mark of the Ninja. It is such a fantastic stealth game, and I can't believe no game has really tried to copy it. But there are a couple 2D stealth games you could give a look. So one is Wildfire. That's kind of an interesting stealth game. Definitely not as serious as Mark of the Ninja. It has some really silly dialogue. It's actually written quite well. But it is a 2D pixel art stealth game where you'll use the environment primarily. It also has some fun traversal, kind of similar to Mark of the Ninja, but you'll use your environment and a fire ability in particular where you can kind of absorb fire from anything that's burning around you and like hurl it into some tall grass that an enemy is walking through, and it'll have them running away screaming, which is actually really funny. And sometimes have them like fall into a pit or something because they ran away from the fire screaming. It's a pretty fun stealth game. I can't say it's exactly like Mark of the Ninja because nothing is, but it's a close enough analog that I think it would be worth recommending to Mark of the Ninja fans. And then I haven't played this one myself personally, but I know that The Siege and the Sandfox, I think it's called, is a recent Metroidvania stealth game that came out. Yeah, that looks really cool. I've personally been holding off on buying it because a lot of the reviews have mentioned a ton of bugs that are still being addressed. It sounds like there's a really cool game underneath those bugs, but I personally want to wait until it's patched up a bit before giving it a look. And then if you want some 3D stealth titles, which are a little bit more common, I feel like, No Sun to Worship is very Splinter Cell-y, and I really like that one when I reviewed it a couple years ago. And you can always look at the Styx games, like Styx Master of Shadows, and there was another one, Styx Shards of Darkness.
Shards of Darkness sounds like a great game.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Those games are pretty cool, and there's another Styx game coming out later this year, which I'm hoping we will cover in some way because it looks pretty cool. So yeah, that's what I got.
Well, I'm sure Aaron appreciates all those wonderful recommendations. Thank you, Michael, for sharing them. On to you, Ashton. You are on the block next. This comes from Photographic.
Oh, no.
My favorite indie game is A Short Hike. I love games like that, and I'm always searching for more. I also played Little Gator Game, Smooshy Come Home, and Tiny Terry's Turbo Trip, which I really liked. Games with small open worlds to explore and no combat. Something nice and cozy. Ashton, I thought you would be able to come up with a good recommendation for our friend here.
Okay, I have a few. A few of them are puzzly, so I don't know if that's your vibe, but I think that I really liked A Short Hike as well. So these are the ones that I recommend. I think if you're looking for something the most similar to A Short Hike, Pine Hearts is a really interesting game to check out. You're a little camper and you're trying to get to you're just trying to go for a hike. I can't exactly remember where you're trying to get to, but you have to go through little areas and sort of pick things up and progress by giving the backpack to one guy who'll give you the cake for the next guy to help you get through. It's sort of that type of game, but it's a very similar chill energy, no combat. The Frog Detective games, they are great fun and very chill. Again, they're a bit more puzzly, but on a level that is so minimal that you don't have to think that hard. And the 3 games themselves, if you played all 3 of them, are about a total of 6 hours. And just real silly goofy and a good fun time. There's also Harmony's Odyssey, which is again a puzzle game but a lot of fun. Kato is a good little game to play as well. I don't think there's any combat. I can't remember there being any combat.
I don't think there is.
That you grab little pages of a map and gradually extend where you can go and move them around to get to different places. A really nice little game and just very chill. And the last one, I don't think it's super what you've asked for, but I think everyone should play it, is Spiritfarer. Slightly longer runtime, but you're not looking at any more than like maybe 8 hours. Tugs the heartstrings, but in a nice way, and is just in general a really lovely zen time. So those are my recommendations for you, Photographic. Let me know if you like them or you hate all of them. If you hate all of them, don't let me know. But if you like them, then let me know.
Do you mind if I throw a recommendation on the pile here? Because a game immediately came to mind for me. There is a very, very little known little sort of exploration, cozy, cute platformer that came out near the end of last year called Garden Trills. You play as a little bird that kind of explores a garden, and you kind of go water plants and solve little puzzles and stuff. It's very pretty. It's so cute. Really adorable game, and definitely has those sort of cozy vibes while also giving some engaging stuff to do.
Well, let me write that down for me to play, because I've not heard of that one.
Yeah,
well, I feel like
lovely.
a dipshit because you guys had these beautiful lists, a bunch of different games, and I show up here with just one single game, like a dumbass. But
Well, now you got to think of more off the fly.
I don't work good off the fly. Damn it. Don't put that kind of pressure on me. All right. SD Trawick. He writes in, and I am a huge fan of turn-based JRPGs, as many of you that have followed this channel know. Well, he's looking for a good new turn-based JRPG to play. It doesn't have to be made in Japan, just in the style of JRPGs rather than CRPGs, such as Chained Echoes, Sea of Stars, Arafel, Ruined King, etc. Well, my recommendation for you is one of my favorite games I've reviewed on this channel. It's Rise of the Third Power. Very traditional style, classic turn-based RPG, just like you're looking for. Has a great, great story to it. Unfortunately, the writer of this game seems to have gone ghost. I used to be pretty good friends with them, but I've kind of lost contact over the years, sadly. But just a brilliant game, fun turn-based combat. The music in this game is just phenomenal. A lot of it was licensed out, but it's actually good stuff. In fact, the theme song, the battle theme of this game, I shouldn't say the theme song, the battle theme is very Pirates of the Caribbean-esque. It's like this epic, grandiose. The whole game kind of has that vibe, though. There's pirates involved. There's just a lot to like about it. Overworld map, everything you could possibly look for in a classic JRPG. Fun characters, fun story, a lot of heart. Definitely a indie passion project that I think not enough people have played. I know for a fact that it won the elusive Golden Genie Lamp of approval on the channel. One of the earliest ones. That system was kind of just coming around at that time. I don't know if you knew this, Ashton, but back in the day, we didn't have any review system whatsoever, and our reviews would kind of just conclude, and people would be like, oh, we have to just think about what this person said, which I like. But
Just like get the vibe at the end, like see what they're like. I think this guy liked it. I'm not sure.
Exactly, yeah. And part of me misses that because I like the connection. People had to actually, watch through the video to get all the points. Because I think a lot of times people do skip to the end of a review and just get to the conclusion. And especially we make it nice and tidy now too, with all the bullet points and stuff. But I encourage people to watch all the way because there's a lot of great words in there and a lot of things that aren't just in the conclusion. But anyways, that's a whole little sidetrack thing there. Rise of the Third Power, SD Trawick, definitely check that game out. On to our topic of the day. And by the way, Mike, I really enjoyed that section, so thank you. Full credit to you for creating it.
Oh, thank you. I enjoyed it too. I'm excited to do it more in the future.
Silent Signs is always yelling at me because someone will have a great idea for the channel, and I just have so much stuff running around in my head. I'll be like, who came up with that idea? Surely it was me, and I wrongly take credit sometimes for things, not like intentionally, but it's just like, there's just too much like shit going on in my head at all times. But I wanted to make sure you got credit for that because you definitely came up with it.
Oh, well, I appreciate that.
Topic of the day. This should be a fun one. We're talking about big franchises, obviously. They're big for a reason. They continue to sell millions and millions of copies, whether it's Call of Duty, whether it's GTA. These huge franchises just keep churning in, raking in that dough, and yet the story online, everyone I talk to, it's always like, man, who plays Call of Duty? That series sucks, blah, 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 yaki schmackety, I hate these games. And I feel like a lot of these people, in some cases, are even the ones playing them. Perhaps they're secretly hiding out with their stash of COD games in their bedroom somewhere. But in a serious note, why do these games get so much flack but continue to sell millions of copies? I will go to you, my friend Ashton, first.
Well, because the vast majority of people who play them don't comment on things online. We are part of the sort of inner circle, like true gaming fans who are locked into what's going on and talk about things like a lot, but there's an entire, like, I'd say 80% of gamers pick up the game that they like, play the game that they like, and then just go to bed afterwards without having really, told anyone what they feel about a game. We are sort of in the stratosphere of games, so we hear about them a lot more. But I think what it basically comes down to is Call of Duty players will play Call of Duty regardless of what it's like. And the vast majority of people who enjoy Call of Duty will get the next one regardless of what the discussion is, regardless of any controversy, because they quite frankly don't care. It's their favorite game series. They will have a good time playing it because they know what they're going to get. It's very much I can trust what I'm going to receive when I pick up a Call of Duty game. It's going to be the same every single time. There'll be an online mode, there'll be a campaign, which is always, in my opinion, the best part, and there'll be a zombies mode and maybe a whatever the new sort of big battle royale version is called. But that's it. That's why we see a lot of people talk about how bad they are, but those people are locked in to the gaming world when the vast majority of players don't care what anyone else is saying and will just play their games regardless. Same thing with like FIFA. Those games will continue to come out and the vast majority of players will just play them because they don't care what's going on.
People like comfort food, essentially. They like to know what they're getting exactly, and they will get just that time and time again. So they're okay with that. Is that essentially what you mean?
Yeah. So, essentially, the vast majority of people will know exactly what they're going to get and just get the next one because the next one's come out. But I think we see people talk about games really negatively and then they still sell well because those people will just pick up the games they like and aren't online to tell anyone about how they feel, as much as those sort of core gamers that only talk about gaming will be online talking about how much they don't like something. The vast majority of casual gamers won't be doing that, which is why we don't see as much negativity in sales as we do online.
Mike, we've talked about this a lot, obviously, leading up to the Switch 2's release. The talk was generally quite negative around this console. Oh, it's going to bomb. I heard that from a lot of people, and it goes on to be, I believe, the fastest selling console ever, passing the PS2 recently. So clearly, nobody was deterred. Or is it like Ashton says, there's kind of just this small group online that talks and talks, but doesn't necessarily represent the entirety of gamers? Because I agree with Ashton on that one.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's that the group online is necessarily that small. It's just that the audience for gaming is really, really big. And the kind of people a lot of the people who play Call of Duty every year only play Call of Duty every year or play Call of Duty plus Madden plus FIFA or whatever. I mean, not to dip too into like gamer bro stereotypes, but like a ton of these people exist. And when it comes down to it, I kind of agree with the point Ashton said. Like the Call of Duty campaigns are kind of fun. Like they're really stupid. They're, a lot of the Call of Duty franchises like super creatively bankrupt, but the core gameplay, like the core gunplay is really tight. Like it doesn't hold my attention for very long because there's just no creativity to it at all, but it is predictable. It does feel good to play, and that's all a lot of people are really looking for.
So you think it's kind of like going to see that big budget summer blockbuster every year? You know it's going to be stupid and lots of explosions, but you're entertained enough by it? Is that kind of the vibe I'm getting from you?
Yeah, I mean, look how many superhero movies are still out after like 2 decades maybe of just like so many, and people still go see them. I haven't seen one in ages, but like there's an audience. I'm not dunking on that audience. They like what they like. I just don't happen to necessarily like it alongside them. That's okay.
I think it's a fair point. Yeah, and I think these games will continue to churn out the money. Though I have to say, we've seen a lot of franchises throughout gaming history come and go. What is it about these specific ones you think that continue years and years and years? Things happen, things change over time, new audiences are introduced to games. But Call of Duty, this is on a run going back to, really it was Call of Duty 4 that kicked off this whole campaign, right? I know the Call of Duty series existed before that, but for it to hit these monster type numbers, it was Call of Duty 4 on, and there just seems to be no stopping this train. What is it about these games, Ashton, that you think continues to churn in so much money?
I think that Call of Duty was ahead of the curve in what it gave to gamers, and now it has such a reputation ahead of it that I think it would take something absolutely astronomical to kill off the Call of Duty series. That plus the fact there's a new one every year. They're not always good. Call of Duty Vanguard was fine. They didn't like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. That went down like a sack of shit. So I think that it doesn't matter what they do. The name attached to it holds so much gravitas that it will continue to succeed. I think that even with Ubisoft struggling, Assassin's Creed games still do relatively well because of the name attached to them. It's got that star power. A lot, like we talk about movies having star power when they attach like Scarlett Johansson to them or whatever. But I think games have a lot of star power in the names that come ahead of whatever subtitle there is going to be. Grand Theft Auto is a household name for any like person who knows anything about gaming, and Call of Duty is exactly the same. There isn't many series, I think, that are this sort of powerful in the gaming realm, but there are a few that are, and you can tell when one of those games is about to launch, because regardless of what happens, it's just going to do well. It's going to sell a lot of copies.
Yep. I'll add Pokemon into the pile there too.
Yeah, Pokemon definitely as well, yeah.
I don't know if you both agree or not too, but like it's always, sadly in the case of something like Call of Duty and GTA, it's always kind of topical. You know, unfortunately we still have war in the world going on and it's on people's minds. And GTA, obviously there's always crime and carjackings and terrible things happening. Do you think that's part of the reason that these games kind of stay relevant too?
I think maybe Call of Duty more so, because like it's that whole thing of like, well, sex sells, but so does war and death. Like these things are things that will always do well. War movies are always big sellers. I just think it's I don't necessarily think it's because, you know, wars are always happening. I mean, wars are always happening. But if anything, you'd sort of think that would put people off playing a war game. To like, there's absolutely no escapism when our TVs are filled with war.
You'd think so, right? Yeah.
You'd think. But no, I just think it's the dopamine rush people get from shooting things that is sort of recreated in the Call of Duty games. I don't necessarily think it's topicalness, especially with GTA. When you look at GTA 5, it came out 10 years ago, and the vast majority of the content in it is well out of date and references that don't make sense anymore, but it's still a huge game because it just is, and people have a fun time driving their car really fast and shooting things because it's just completely different than what we're allowed to do in everyday life.
I'll go to you real quick on this, Mike. Do you think real world events have any influence on the success of these franchises?
I think not necessarily. I think they're each offering something different. I mean, GTA is kind of cathartic. You can go anywhere, do anything, and do a lot of stuff you would never do in real life. And Call of Duty, I think its popularity has little to do with the fact that there's always war, because it's selling a very different type of almost like war fantasy. Like Call of Duty it's about like camaraderie between soldiers and like, you know, killing the bad guy and saving the world. And it's like, it's so brazenly unrealistic in its themes, and you know, it's just kind of selling something very different than that, and it's selling that just really appeals to people.
Well, there you have it. That was our topic of the day. These big franchises, they don't appear to be going anywhere, but we want to hear from you in the comments below. Why do you think COD, GTA, these big series continue to churn out that money? But coming up next week on I Dream of Indie Games, we have the Dream Drop. All the newest indie releases, that's every Monday, Indie List Tuesday. We're going to be talking about some rhythm games, indie rhythm games that you should check out. I'm going to try to gather up 10 of those. I have a pretty good idea of which one's going to be featured. Excited about that. Wednesday, hopefully a new episode of Zero Reviews, Ashton. I think you hinted at that earlier on the podcast.
I know I didn't, but God, it's not a spoiler because it should be out already. The game was So bad, you guys.
Well, you'll have.
I'm so
I was
sorry.
so mad.
I'm so sorry.
That's the risk you take when you
It's
spin
okay,
the
it's
wheel,
okay.
right?
The wheel betrayed me this week. It really mugged me off big time.
And on Thursday, we of course have this podcast. Patreon members enjoy that 3 days early at every single paid tier. Friday, Hidden Indie Gems, and then Saturday, our indie update closing out the week. But of course, a bunch of reviews. Ashton, it was lovely to talk to you once again. And Mike, thank you so much for being here, y'all. I appreciate you both.
I was waiting for your, and now I'm gonna do a part.
All right, fine, I'll do it.
It never works on the
As we
the
close
Discord.
this show out, here we go.
You just ate Wendy's. You can't be trying to force one out. That's a risk.